All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about something that a lot of adults, and especially those of you guys who have jobs, what you really tend to kind of like really not like, and that's taxes. We're going to be looking at that and what's its purpose and what's it used for, why do we need taxes, and why do we have them, and things like that. We're going to be looking at that, okay, today. So here's your warm-up picture. The first question asks you to analyze the picture and tell me what's going on here. Okay, it's pretty easy. You can see from what the guy's saying and stuff like that. The second question asks you, what do you think this artist is trying to say about the IRS and the taxpayers? Um, Look at where each one of them are, look what's around them, their surroundings, and how their facial expression, things like that. So that should help you out, especially what the person is saying. That should really, really help you out about what's going on here, what this artist is trying to say. Okay, so pause the video, write your response, okay, because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so the US government, as well as other governments around the world, needs a lot of money to run efficiently. And this is at all three levels of the government: federal, state, and local levels. All right, so tax money is really, truly needed in order for things to run smoothly. You'll hear a lot of people say, well, that's my money and things like that. Well, it's like partially, but it's also my money, their money. Anyone who pays taxes, that's your money. Okay. In 2001, the government collected $3.3 trillion in taxes. If you broke it up at that time, that's about $11,800 per man, woman, and child. That's quite a bit. Okay. Now, why do we have taxes? Well, taxes are placed on goods and services. Okay, we need them to make things run efficiently, but how do we collect it on goods and services? Really, taxes can affect whether taxes are high or not. Like, taxes can affect the blank whether. I don't know what happened there. I must have misprinted something there. um, but yeah, taxes tend to really get people to like, well, I thought this thing was like $1.99. Yeah, with taxes you add in at the end, things like that. If you buy something overseas, they tend to add the tax right there and then before you get it. In 1991, this is pretty interesting things. Congress passed this thing called the luxury tax, which you may see on a monopoly board. Now, what is a luxury tax? This is basically any type of expensive car, private airlines, yachts, other things that are really, really costly. The government put a tax on it to collect revenue. Okay, because the government is like, well, we need money, so who should we tax? Well, a lot of times they tax the middle class, and the middle class needs a break. Well, who can afford to pay taxes? The rich. Do they really need a private aircraft, a private yacht, all these luxury cars from overseas, and things like that? No. Do they really need it? No. So that's why they're like, you know what? It's a luxury. It's an excess. So might as well tax you on that. And that's what happened. Okay. Now, taxes also have another purpose too. They can also encourage and discourage different types of activities. Okay, the government tends to add taxes or take away taxes to make people behave a certain way or do a certain thing that they want. So, a great example of this is homeowners can use the interest from the payment on their mortgages as a tax deduction. Now, why is this significant? It encourages people to buy homes. So instead of being like, oh my God, my mortgages, this and that, Oh, this is going to kill me. Well, when the tax season comes, you can use the interest rate payments and use as a deduction in taxes, so you don't have to pay as high. So it pays to have a home. That you take a loan, you take it from the bank, and you're paying for this home. Um, because again, the government does want you to own a home. You buy a home, you're going to buy furniture, you're going to buy stuff for your place, cleaning products and washer dryer, refrigerators, garden hoses, things like that. You buy those things, that makes the economy go. You know, it's like, so they really do want you to. The other one that's pretty interesting, it's called a sin tax. This is a relatively high tax designed to raise revenue and reduce consumption of something that's considered not good for you, undesirable, or could be harmful to your health. Um, the two major ones that are still going on to this day are sin taxes on liquor and tobacco. Okay. When I was younger, cigarettes were fairly cheap. They weren't that expensive. And then, maybe about 20 some years ago, 30 some years ago, more like 20 years ago, they started to add these taxes to the cigarettes. So the cigarettes started to rise. Because why? People were dying from this lung cancer and some of that. So to discourage people from smoking, a lot of states put a tax on cigarettes to stop people from smoking. Has it worked? Not really. There are some people who are like, man, $10 for a pack of cigarettes, I might just have one, or two, as opposed to how they were back in the day who were smoking, a whole pack a day or more. You know, my godfather used to smoke, at least a pack a day. He used to get these cartons of cigarettes. Now those cartons are like 30, $40. Even before, they used to cost maybe 10, $15, maybe somewhere around there. So that's what the sin tax encourages. Um, Here's the thing. This is a pretty interesting fact. Even with the $1 tax on these items, the government is making billions of dollars on tax revenue. For every cigarette packet sold, for every bottle, beer, things like that, that's being sold, the government is making billions of dollars off this. Because again, people want that stuff. People are willing to spend money on that. So ergo, the government makes money. If you're going to behave that way, we're making money at least. So here's your first question. Do you think that implementing a sin tax is a good thing or a bad thing, and why? Do you feel like, okay, you know what, I get it why they're doing that. Maybe, people will reduce at least. Or do you think like, nah, the government should be doing that. That's People should be able to live their lives and la la la. What do you think? What do you truly believe? Okay? So think about it. Write down your response, okay? Because we're moving on in three, two, one. The other big thing of how the government gets their money is a thing called income tax. Now, does every state have an income tax? No. There are some states that they don't tax you on where you live, but majority of the states, however much money you make, they do put a tax on you. Now, thing as you see from the map, every state is different. California's is one of the highest. It's not the highest, but it is one of the highest. And if you look on the map, the lighter the blue, the lesser, the smaller the income tax is. So that's why even some athletes, when they go to play for some sports team, they'll look at the income tax like, well, how much am I giving up on my income tax? And they'll look at that kind of stuff. That all that stuff plays a role. When fighters, boxers, MMA, them too, when they go to states, their purse, whatever it is, like if they make $10 million in a fight, they have to pay that income tax for that state. So whether it's high or low or none, they still have to pay it. Or again, if it's nothing, like Montana, if you look up there, or Oregon, they don't have to pay. Now, the thing is the tax code. This is something that says, if you make this much, you have to pay this much, and all these variables and deductions and things like that. This thing is thousands and thousands of pages long. It's very difficult to understand, very difficult to read because it is very much in lawyer talk. It's not straightforward. It's like if some of the first party does this with the second party, and if the third party is charitable, then I mean, it's very complicated. You know, that's why, like the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, they try to kind of simplify it. They keep track of all this stuff, new laws that are coming in, different ways that the government is going to be collecting money, and things like that. But thing is, like I said, because of its difficulty and the way it changes and so that, not many people like the tax code, um, mainly because they don't understand it. They don't understand how 1 year this could be fine, but over here, no. Some people were like, well, how come so and so they can get money from this and not get taxed, but this person over here, they take money out of their stock market thing and they get taxed. Again, it's so many different variables that are coming in. It's very difficult to say, oh, this is one solid answer. It's not. There's again a lot of variables, very difficult to understand. Now, sales tax. A lot of you guys, if you buy something at a store, you'll see on the receipt it says sale tax. I believe our state is like I think it was like 8 point something, 8.75, or it might be a little bit higher now, might be like 8.8. You know, but this is the general tax on items and things we buy. This tax is paid at the time when you purchase it, so you really don't see. They say, "Oh, here's a total, and this is the tax of it." It's just you buy your items, and then they say the price is $32. The tax has already been added to it, you know. So that's the thing. So next time you buy something, check the receipt and look really quick. It'll say on there how much money you paid to the sales tax. Now, what kind of stuff is attached to the sales tax? Well, it depends on your state. Because some goods like food, childcare, medicines, they don't put a tax on that. Some places they say no, no, if you're buying food, you shouldn't be taxed on that. But if you're buying deodorant, yeah. If you're buying batteries, sure. But if it's something like for childcare or medicine, then they say no. Again, it varies and it depends on whatever state you're living in. Okay. Um, like I said, some places tax food, some don't. You know, some tax on sodas, some don't. It all depends on which state. Again, that's why it's again so difficult to put a grasp and say for certain this is this is that, and this is this. It's not like that when it comes to taxes. All right, here's your second question. Do you think a state taxing their citizens on things they buy is the best way for a state to make money? What do you think? Because again, states do need money. They do truly need money to make things run efficiently. But do you think that's the best way? What do you think? Yes, no, maybe so. Again, the writing prompt's on the bottom, so go ahead and use that to help you out, okay? If you don't know how to start the sentence. Okay, so pause the video because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, now I hate to say this, but I'm sure you guys already know this. Sometimes there are laws or rules that allow people to avoid paying taxes and stuff like that. These are called tax loopholes. All right, they do suck. They really do. Because like, how can somebody who only makes, let's say, $36,000 a year, which is like very low, um, how can they pay taxes on stuff? and still owe money, but somebody who makes $1 million a year doesn't have to pay anything. It's like, how does that work? How is that fair? Again, there are tax loopholes. These are laws and rules that are created that kind of worm their way through. Now, again, tax loopholes, they're exemptions, oversights, and tax laws that allow some people and businesses to avoid paying taxes. So people like that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, depending on which state they are at, some states say if you are a company and you hire people, you've hired so many hundreds or thousands of people, you don't have to pay taxes. Well, okay, yeah, we hired all these people. Great, no taxes. Well, it's like, did they pay those people top dollar? No, they probably paid them the bare minimum just so they can get that tax exemption, you know. Um, See, even and the thing is, even without, oh my bad, I'm sorry, that just skipped a section. Again, they aren't fair. They generally are meant for big businesses and wealthy individuals, like I said, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, you know, people and corporations like that. They tend to get these loopholes. Again, they are not fair, you know, and every taxpayer will not pay the same amount on taxes. So what your parents might pay might be different from me. They might get more money than me. They might have to pay more than me. Everyone's different, and again, there's so many different variations. Whether you have children, a business, whether how much money you made, whether there's different laws that are created. Again, that's the problem with taxes. Everyone's different. It's very hard to understand. So um, again, because it's very hard to understand, people don't like it. So here's my next question to you. How do you think people should be taxed? Should it be a flat rate for everyone? Hey, 25% across the board. However much money you make, 25%, that's how much you should pay in taxes. Or should it be like the more you make, the more you pay? Or should it be like if you have a business, you should pay less? You know, should it be something like, well, if you hired so many people, you should pay less? Or if your workers are all being paid minimum wage, you should pay more. What do you think? What do you believe how our tax rates should be? Should it be fair? Should it be adjusted? People with two or more kids should have to pay less. I mean, what do you think? If you have a certain job, you should pay less. What do you think? All right. Take a minute or two, think about it, write your response. Okay. And tell me why. Why do you believe this? Why is that fair to you in your point of view? Okay. And again, the writing prompt's on the bottom. Okay. So pause the video, write your response because we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so this is your exit ticket question. You got two of them. The first one says, what do you think would happen if we were able to cut off all loopholes for the rich and large companies? Right? There's no way they can avoid paying certain taxes and things like that. How do you think our country or our state would be? How do you think it would be? Do you think it'd be different in a good way or bad way? And why do you believe this? The second question asks you, what are the top 3 places where you feel our tax money should go to? All right, now these are all things dealing with our state. Okay, should your tax money go to schools, police, firefighters, fixing the city/town streets, helping homeless, EBT programs, helping expecting mothers, building new stadiums, fixing highways and the highway roads, um, making new and improving jails and prisons? Should it be towards the buses and trains, healthcare for the elderly, state worker retirement, people who worked for the state, they should get more money in retirement, um, healthcare for children, care for the disabled people, cleaning of the parks, environmental cleanup, taking care of the veterans, helping farmers. If there's a bad season and their crops die, they can have help. Of all that list, what are the top three you feel our tax money should go to helping? You know, what do you think our money should be going to? Okay, so whichever question you feel you can answer better, answer that one. Okay. Once you finish that, that's the end of this lesson. Hopefully, you learned something new. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Um, we will be continuing on with taxes next lesson. But also, guys, I want to let you guys know too. Don't forget to get your research packet, which is, remember, the watching the video, writing down the commercials, watching TV, Tubi, YouTube, anything with commercials, cable, satellite, whatever. Just don't watch something that has no commercials. So like stuff like HBO, Netflix, um, HBO Max, things like that. If it doesn't have commercials, don't watch it. But if it does have commercials, then that's what you should be watching. And keep a detailed thing, a member of it. If the commercial shows up to be a truck, truck commercial, write down, you know, truck commercial, Ford, Chevy, whatever. Okay, it doesn't have to go into detail what's shown every second, just the main thing. Shoes, Jordans, Air Maxes, whatever it is. Drinks, Monster, Red Bull, stuff like that. Okay, so that will be due the latest I will take it is next Tuesday. If I can get it in this Friday, that really helps me out. But the latest I can get it is next Tuesday. Okay, so you guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. All right.